Okay, by show of hands, who in here enjoys having a good time? Whether it's with your friends, family, co-workers, by yourself. Maybe you don't like your family that much. I get it, me neither, it's okay. But when you're looking for a good time or you're thinking about a good time, how do you go about finding these events and activities that you like? Where do you go? Do you ask people you know, tap into resources you have? Do you search websites, Eventbrite, Google, Facebook? And what if you want to go to these events? If they require travel, transportation, or a ticket, do you then have to go to another app or website to then make those arrangements? You see, that's the problem for you, me, and millions of people all around the world. Now imagine that you had a tool that served you as your social concierge, that held your social footprint, your social DNA, so that you never had to worry about finding events and activities that you like. Nor would you have to surf the internet to make travel arrangements, to buy tickets, to book a hotel. You could do it all in one place. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Social Bevy. Social Bevy is a mobile concierge platform that connects social seekers to events and activities tailored to their individual tastes, rolling the services of multiple platforms into one. It provides a complete solution to social activity. Now, we're able to do this because users come to our platform, they set up a profile in which they identify what their social preferences. Now, using different categories that we might provide. Now, we want to know that you like categories, but we want to also know what within those categories that you like. If you like music, we want to know, is it jazz, is it country, is it rock? If you like art, we want to know, is it dance, is it theater, is it opera? So using that information and our algorithm, we're then able to provide our users with tailored information to their own preferences. Now, you might say that there's a bunch of apps out there, and there are. However, directly, we have no competition. Indirectly, we compete with a few apps you may have heard of: Facebook, Eventbrite, Travelocity. However, directly or indirectly, no company offers the complete solution of services that Social Bevy will provide. Now, here's what we know. 224 million Americans own a smartphone. How do we know? Most of y'all in here own them right now, right? Of which we check our phones about 80 times a day. Now, 50% of the US consumers expect to find the information that they want or need on their mobile devices. What does this mean, people? This means that social dependency of mobile phones is on the rise. Okay? And that what leads into our sustainability and scalability as a platform, which we plan to monetize through our consumers using both in-app transactions and digital marketing. We'll add more services as we grow. We're all human beings, we're all social beings. Social Bevy will be that tool that connects people to the events and activities that they look for. Now, I want to ask you and thank you, because the funds that we use today will be utilized to finish our development and/or for marketing. And I'd like to ask you to join me in providing a social solution for people all over the world. Thank you.
As a person who travels, this would be excellent for me, but my question for you is, how do you make money? How much do you charge and how do you get paid?
Right, so the monetization or revenue model is, like I said, in-app transactions. So basically when people buy tickets to an event, we'll have a service charge to both the user and the producer. Anytime somebody books a travel, we have convenience fees, service fees for that. We'll get commissions off of anytime somebody books an Uber. So anytime somebody makes some sort of transaction within the platform, that'll be one way. The other side of this is that we have producers, our event producers, who provide the events, who provide the content. We also charge them in terms of using digital marketing. We're also as a one-stop source or solution for them from a digital marketing standpoint to be able to market to an audience that is looking specifically for what they're offering. So we're almost like a matchmaking platform for those who are producing events and for those who are looking for them.
But how are you making money? How much are you charging? Are those charges different per
Yes.
transaction?
So
or-
everyone will have a different fee associated with it, right? So
Okay.
and then so with traveling, we'll just have like a commission that we get based off of that sale, right?
Okay.
And then other fees we'll make accordingly. Yeah. So it'll vary.
Okay.
So I wonder what your plan for promoting adoption of the tool is.
Okay, so one idea is going to be multifaceted, first of all. So one major one will be to partner with local event establishments, museums, different venues, and what we will do, we'll have a grassroots team there on site educating their patrons or people that are there to go and follow said entity on our platform. So we're educating the consumer while we're working with our producers who are our customers as well. And so when the consumer sees that, hey, this is really a value to me because this is going to provide me with the things that I like, they'll be prone to use it as well as using it for that particular customer as well. And the benefit to that customer in terms of the venue is that they get the direct connectivity with that customer that they can't get using any other platform.
Will your customers be able to get some unique value proposition because they've accessed that venue or that event through you?
Yes. So there is another added model is that being a part of our platform, we plan to offer incentives from our said vendors who provide certain incentives. So our thought is to have like a Groupon model where, let's say a restaurant may offer a free appetizer, right? Or because you're a Social Bevy member or you use this platform, the thought is that the restaurant gets the customer because they have offered this incentive. The customer feels like, oh, I've won because I just got this free appetizer, and we get the user. So it's a win-win-win.
So I would tell you this, being in banking, for some strange reason, all of our customers or prospects believe that we have an unending wealth of cash, right? So everything that they want is all about the VIP experience. Mm-hmm. So how do you provide the VIP experience? So in other words, one size does not fit all. So you have someone who's saying, hey, I want concert tickets, but I expect to get concert tickets that allow me to get backstage passes, to be in the first 5 rows. I want to go to this restaurant, but I want the premium spot and things of that nature.
So that particular concept is not necessarily a part of this model directly that way. Now, however, to scale, some of the things that we will do is provide certain services like that. So initially, of our MVP stage, it's just about providing the data that you want, right? Okay. We want to provide the experience because this is what you want, right? And using AI, we'll be able to keep up with events that you may attend to and things like that. So we will recommend other ones based on your attendance, places you go and things like that. In the future, we do plan to add more of a VIP structure and have that model in place as well. Once people understand what we bring to them in terms of the value, then yes, we will have those relationships in place that we can provide a better or higher level experience for certain customers who want to pay for that. Absolutely.
How many users are you expecting in the first year? I mean, there's so many apps. I mean, everyone has millions of apps on their phone. How are you going to get people to download your app? And then how many users are you expecting in your first year?
So again, part of that strategy, like she mentioned, that's one. Another method that we're going to use is also, social media, having strategic partnerships with different groups, different entities, because one of the things, like, we're looking to partner with the city of Houston. So when people come into the city, right, they come in for conferences, they come in for, just to hang out or visit family. How do they find these things that they like to do? There's no one source for that. And that's where we want to make strategic partnerships with organizations like the cities, city governments, Houston First, and all of that. So our first year goal is to have 25,000 users, right? So our goal is to grow at a rate of 10%. After 3 months, we plan to have 75 different producers. Each producer, my goal is to have them produce at least 100 followers of their own in terms of patrons. I feel like that's really a modest number. But and I think if we do that and growing at the right rate, we'll excel that goal.
I have one more question. When you think about this work, What is the really necessary first step to be able to get to minimum viable? Is it to have all those producers locked up, or is it the app functionality? And could you give me a sense of what you're working on next?
Okay, so what we're working on now is to complete the MVP. So, first of all.
Thank
Oh,
you.
okay, sorry.
Thank you.
When the world thinks about Houston, they think about NASA, the Texas Medical Center, oil and gas, and sports. But how many people would think of Houston as being the global leader in planetariums? Today, I'm going to show you the theater of the future. I'm going to tell you how you can experience it now. Someday, in the not too distant future, these will be in our homes. I, Matthew Doherty, George Shea, and Tony Butterfield, we are the principals of VR Stadium. Our story begins with the Houston Planetarium. Houston was the first digital planetarium in the United States. Today, we are the highest resolution planetarium in the world. From a NASA grant, Houston created mobile planetariums that are currently being used throughout the world. They are being used by millions of children around the world. Working with Baylor College of Medicine, I collaborated with the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and I developed a biomolecular dome. And working with Tony Butterfield from the Houston Museum, we traveled the world presenting our dome movies to Nobel laureates, to scientists, the public, and for children. Several years ago, Tony and I began thinking about VR in the planetarium. And we realized that VR games and planetariums use the same technology. 12 years ago, Steven Spielberg predicted the future, the movie theater of the future. It will be all around you. It will be above you. You will interact with it as an interactive experience. We see this as the chicken and egg problem. There are no theaters because there are no venues. There's no theaters because there's no content. And there's no content because there's no theaters. We believe esports is the way to solve this problem. Over the last 3 years, we've been developing software and prototypes. We have designed and are now preparing to manufacture dome theaters. In this example, we can seat 20 people, but we could also put in couches. We know what the VR arcades are doing, and we realize ambience is critical to branding and for customer engagement. We decided that large VR phone booths are the way to go. Combining them, we can display VR games in the planetarium. We can network them, build sporting leagues, sell tickets, and pay the players. Parents can watch their kids play VR games. At other times, we can show planetarium movies, but planetariums can show television shows. They can show movies, regular movies. We can rent the space for small parties or to film producers. We've identified 20 different revenue streams, excluding food and drinks, which we will leave for other people to figure out. Our storefronts will become the showrooms of the home builders to see, and the dome theater experience for the general public pleasure. We've finished our third model working with an established manufacturer in the home building industry. Who can,
Thank you for the visuals. I'm a visual person, so it really helped to see that. I'm going to ask, how do you guys make money, and what are your projections for the first year?
Box office sales, it's admission. Hi, my name's Tony, And
Light off, yeah.
okay. Wait. So I just got back from a teacher conference in Fort Worth, science teachers. We're already doing this. And basically what we're trying to do is take the planetarium dome and bring it into a more mainstream commercial audience. We've been doing this for years, and we're taking the technology both from the popularity of virtual reality and gaming, and we're bringing it together. Not everybody likes to wear something, and people like to watch other people playing games. So the stadium part is the spectator point of view, and the gaming part is the player's point of view. So just like a game tournament, you have admission to play, and you have admission to watch. So it's a box office model.
And how much are the tickets for that?
It could be $75 to play and $25 to watch, or it could be, and on the back page we have the 20 streams of revenue. So there's different ways that we can rent out the facility. In the museum industry, we already are doing field trips, and so in the commercial industry, we would just repurpose that through a different market.
Let me ask you around cost. So what's your cost, your investment?
So
I think Matt can handle this.
go ahead. Okay, right. So we've been doing this for years, and like you said, we've been doing this with a NASA grant through the educational outlet. There's about $15,000 in electronics, and there's about $15,000 of furnishings, which is the seats and the screen. So the raw cost is about $30,000. The rest of it is administration, scheduling, and operations.
And does your model anticipate that you have to have a certain number of locations before you hit break even or profitability?
In our stage 1 process, we're going to have one location, and we're going to be either in the Midtown or the Edo district. We're going to try to target the 12 to 30 male gaming audience. Also, the urban crowd that seems to be moving towards those areas.
So in your business plan for personal investments, it says that you have over 1,500 hours in the last 5 years, and you guys have already been open. So how do you quantify those 1,500 hours? How much have you made? Have all those been volunteer hours, just doing research, or what have those hours been used for?
So this is already up and going. I've created the software and the gaming networking to do it on an educational level. We demonstrated at an international planetarium conference in France in July. I went to a users group meeting in Salt Lake in September, and yesterday I was up at the teacher conference in Fort Worth. So these are the software and the platform is already in play. We're already moving on. We're looking at the 2019 schedule with industry vendors to work together. The planetarium industry is a small industry, and so we realize that, so we're kind of pulling together to survive, and we realize that there are other markets that are bigger, and we're just trying to ride the coattails of the VR gaming industry and electronics itself.
So how much have you made such thus far in revenue?
So it's been a building process of putting together the software. The software is already retailed and it's available for planetariums around the world, but it's the next step of bringing it out of the educational market into the commercial stream that is like allowing, because there's a lot of content out there other than stars, planets, and the moon, and there's independent films that's out there. There's also games that are available.
So you spoke earlier around the cost, and you said it could be $75 for a player, $25 to watch.
Right.
So for a parent who's taking their kid to play, that's $75, $25 for her to watch.
So that's like based on a tournament, and that's one of the revenue streams.
Okay.
So you get like in esports, you have a tournament concept. The other thing is, like, if it's a birthday party, it's a 2-hour birthday party. You have 20 kids and their family come. Not all 20 kids can play at the same time, so you can have 5 or 6 kids playing and 15, kids watching. What we see a lot with a lot of kids is they watch the other kids play, and so they say, how, the tricks, the pitfalls, and things like that. So the spectator part of it is actually part of the gameplay.
Yeah.
I'm curious in terms of sort of customer discovery of your target market. Is there an expressed desire to play in a communal setting? When is there, second, an opportunity to sort of feed that into tournament work?
Exactly. I'm from Pearland, and the Pearland Public Library has started having family game night on the first Thursday, and it started in September, and it doubled in October, and that's hanging out at the library is more like the library is turning into like the community center, and it's the things to do and programs to participate in. At the Pearland Public Library, we saw kids 8 to 13 that were hanging out after school, and then the parents would play the old retro games, and the kids would play Mario Kart.
Good job, guys.
Time and money, and the eternal quest that we all share in trying to get more of both. This could not be truer for anybody working in the gig economy. We're familiar with these people, the DoorDash or Uber drivers. But a lot of people don't realize how many apps are out there. There's apps that deliver specific things such as liquor or the clothes you bought at Macy's but didn't want to take home. Question is, how much do you think a driver delivering dinner from El Tiempo makes? The answer is not much. In fact, it's less than $10 an hour. There's high driver turnover and a lot of traffic. A lot of friction, a lot of costs, and a lot of traffic. This is where Sue.me will provide the opportunity for these drivers to earn more in less time. My name is Shafiq Jadala. I'm the CEO and founder of Sue.me. I have over 20 years experience in logistics, leveraging technologies to eliminate inefficiencies. I've driven for multiple apps, and I'm raising $350,000 for development of my MVP and launch to the market. Seuss.me will be an app that will put more deliveries in the driver's car, therefore giving them more money in less time. This is our view of the world tomorrow. Increased earnings, less turnover, less traffic. Drivers will pay for our service because we will automatically make them more efficient. Our dynamic routing algorithm will consolidate deliveries across the multiple apps, maximize the driver's earnings, and optimize their route. Initial testing results 43% increase in net earnings for the drivers. Why does it matter now? Why today? Consumers today expect deliveries to their houses in 24 hours or less. This has created a large market. Companies in 2016 spent $60 billion delivering goods to our homes, and by 2022, they're going to spend $150 billion. How long will Gap continue to pay $6 to deliver the $40 shirt to your house before charging you more? How much longer will Uber spend $500 million a year recruiting drivers before they charge you more? How long will any of these subsidies last before we as consumers will pay more for those deliveries? And therein lies our solution. We're not a competitor for these apps, we're a consolidator of these apps. Our algorithm will consolidate apps across multiple deliveries, increasing the driver's earnings, and lower the costs for everybody else. Our value model is simple. We will charge 6% of the transactions for optimizing each driver's route. Effectively, that turns into 8 cents that drivers pay us in exchange to earn 35 more cents in the same amount of time. By year 3, we project to have 11,000 drivers on our platform, moving over $148 million of e-commerce, generating $9.1 million of revenue for Seuss.me. Fundraising so far, we've raised $55,000 towards our goal of $350,000. And along the way, we've been hitting key milestones, such as proof of concept on our dynamic routing algorithm in April, launch of our proof of concept website this November to solicit drivers, and en route for our launch of MVP in Houston, Texas in November of 2019. Seuss.me will provide the opportunity for drivers to achieve what we all want, to earn a decent living and the time to enjoy it. Along the way, we'll also solve a cost structure problem for the apps and the retailers, and we'll reduce traffic, which will generate more money and more time for all of us. Thank you.
And so if you do something like Uber Eats, they promise you that you'll get your food within 45 minutes. So if I'm a driver and I now have 5 or 6 orders and not one, how am I still getting customers their order in a timely manner that will still be eligible to fit on like the Uber Eats app?
So the routing algorithm works with constraints. We will have driver-specific constraints, such as size of car, if they want to deliver food or not, and then we'll also have other constraints, such as time limits if an app requires a time limit. So that's part of our routing algorithm.
So I'm just thinking to myself, if you're an Uber driver and now, we are focused, so many parents are focusing on getting their kids from point A to point B. Have multiple kids, they're in multiple sports and things of that nature. And I'm saying, okay, so I'm leaving that, it's gonna take them 15 minutes to get there. I don't assume no stops or anything of that nature. So, from your mobile app, you can track that driver. Mm-hmm. But now there's a possibility of having stops along the way.
Well, so our target market is a little different. So within the realm of, say, Uber and Lyft, DoorDash, Favor, all these 300 different apps, we're not targeting really so much the ride-sharing app that's specific for a consumer, like in this case, the child that wants to go from point A to point B. We're mostly targeting deliveries of materials and goods, because that's where really there's an opportunity to consolidate. There is an option eventually for, say, Uber Pool or Lyft Pool, because by choosing Pool, you as a driver, or you as a rider, are voluntarily choosing to allow stops on your ride. So we would incorporate those only, but we would not look at, or we're not even targeting just direct Uber point-to-point deliveries. Okay.
Do you see the greatest demand for delivery of products that, like packaged products, where there is less time sensitivity than with food, or where would you place your emphasis in terms of bringing suppliers and partners into your MVP offer?
So it's a combination of the two. If you think about the inefficiencies that exist today, today's market is equivalent of a FedEx driver delivering one package at a time. Our model is going to have the consolidation. So if along the route, the driver has the opportunity to pick up dry cleaning and food and the clothes from Macy's, then our route will optimize that for them. So we're not going to exclude it, because we need to take advantage of the network density that exists, and a lot of that is in food, but we will optimize it and make sure that we meet all the time constraints. The best way I can explain it is, if you think about what happens today in your house, you have 3 or 4 different drivers come to your house to deliver a package. That's extremely inefficient. Mm-hmm. And so our model will consolidate all of those so that one driver knocks on your door.
So how the people driving, so they pay 8 cents and they get 35 cents, but how much are they paying initially, and are they paying on the front end or the back end?
So our model, once the driver, when they log on to our app, they will select if they want to do, they'll have a certain list of choices, which will be the constraints that we include. And then as they start to drive, our dynamic routing algorithm will optimize in real time. So if our driver, as soon as he gets on the road and you decide you wanted food and you select Favor, you want a delivery from, the clothes from Macy's to Deliv, and you use DoorDash to get your hamburger. Depending upon where they are from a geofencing standpoint, we'll optimize the route. The driver selects yes. We charge them the 6% for the value of the transactions, and the driver goes on to deliver. We are not going to interact or interfere with Favor, Uber, DoorDash. The driver still has that relationship. He's still vetted through them. We are optimizing the driver's time, which is why they're going to pay us for that service. It's kind of like, we're going to be their co-pilot. And so they're going to choose to use us as their co-pilot in order to earn more money.
So the driver will have to be signed up on all these different apps in order to be able to utilize yours?
Yep. Now, 66% of the drivers today are already driving for 2 or more apps.
Okay. Thank you.
And they do so, when you get into a car, if you notice, they have 2 phones. Or they've got the one phone and they're toggling, trying to figure out, how do I optimize and maximize my earnings?
Is there going to be a safety feature so they're not doing this while they're driving?
So our algorithm will automatically create the route. Think about it this way. When you get into the car, it's effectively Waze. We'll have the 4 or 5 stops for you to make. You just hit yes and continue to drive. A new delivery comes in, we will reroute. If it's optimal for you or the driver, they can select yes, they add the stop. They choose not to, they don't, and they continue driving. So all they're going to do is effectively listen to Waze and make their deliveries.
Okay.
So you're taking a big advantage of pinpoint mapping. So, you know, I'm in this area.
Correct.
And, you know, there's two things that pop up. And so that's on my route. You send it to that driver, but you give him or her the option on whether they want to take it on.
Like personally driving for the multiple apps, I found it extremely inefficient because I'm picking up, food from one restaurant and then I get a ping from the other app and it's down the block. But if I'm not on the two apps and I can't consolidate it, I'm missing out on the opportunity. And so that's where we're going to take advantage.
So you're gonna have it separated, so I'm just more concerned about the food. So am I gonna get my food warm?
You want your hot food, I get it.
Warm, or are you gonna drop off his dry cleaning and her stuff, and then my food's gonna be cold? Are you gonna fix that
So
stuff?
the various apps have constraints. Some apps, like say Favor, does not have a time limit, neither does Postmates. And so depending upon the app and the service that the consumer expects will be a constraint or not a constraint within our routing algorithm.
Got it.
Thank you.